All of a sudden, there was just a loud noise and then this huge flame in the windshield. Yeah, that was a big boom.
All right, so this video is about not blowing up one turbo, it's blowing up two turbos. What's better than blowing up one? Blowing up two. You gotta watch this whole video because we're gonna blow up two turbos in spectacular fashion. It all started with Josh coming to me and said, hey boss, I'm gonna hit 2,000 horsepower tonight.
That was the goal.
That was the goal. He's like, that'll be the first common rail on this dyno. The only person besides the Godfather who's ever done 2,000 on this dyno. That's the only one that's ever done it here is Godfather.
Yeah, pretty much.
So you want to get in on that. And so what was your plan? Tell us the plan for the night. What was going to be perfect?
So the perfect scenario was going to be the 488 that was on there and some nitrous. And we were going to play with the nitrous tuning, the wastegate tuning. And little did I know, I did not know as much as I thought I did about wastegate tuning. So we started off with fuel only just to make sure everything was good.
And you hit a pretty good number. What was it?
It was 1196.
I was like, oh man, that's a big number.
Yeah.
So I was like, have you hit the nitrous yet? And you're like, nope. And I think I said, do you have any more fuel to add to this?
Of course.
And you said,
yeah, a lot.
Mucho more, or some kind of funny, like I got lots more fuel. I'm coming back in right now. So I come back, and you just made the modifications, and I had a snack. So I'm back here, and they're about to do the first pull. And this is the first nitrous run, right?
Yeah, so we started out, we actually did play it kind of smart. We started out with a 78 jet and an 88 jet. And it took it, like we turned on one jet, and then we turned on the second one halfway, and then we turned them both on. I think we did like 1580 by the time we were done with those two jets.
So you already made a huge amount of power. You were working your way up there, still on the small hits, basically,
yes.
Small shots. And then so things are going great. I'm back there, and he's about to do another pull. And Josh is pretty smart. I don't know if he's like prophetic or what, but he says, guys, we're starting to push. Just make sure nobody stand near the truck. I specifically remember him saying that. I'm like, well, that's good advice.
Yeah. Well, I mean, so when we started out, the truck had a full exhaust. So the exhaust was out the back door here, and everybody was inside, and I was like, man, if this blows up, like, because I just kept flashing to like a couple of guys that I know that have blown up the cover. Like for some reason, the Borg Warners like to explode those covers when they come apart. So backed everybody up, and we rejetted it. It was a 99 and a 136, and I had the 99 on full tilt, and the 136 on at 25%, and we did, I think it was like 1620. And at this time, we had an air compressor going with a regulator, and I think it was at like 40 PSI to the top of the wastegate, because in my mind, 30 plus 40 would equal 70, and the turbo would live just fine. And the next pull, I found out just how wrong that was. Boom, and parts were flying. There was a little flame, and I quickly got the truck slowed down because the last thing I wanted to do was shut the truck off at full engine RPM.
Yeah.
Number one, it's going to hurt the tranny, and that's not good. And number two, it'll just scuff the whole engine trying to slow it down that fast. So I coasted it down and then got it shut off. That way we didn't have any engine issues, and looked at the damage, and it was extensive.
It was severe. It was a proper blow up.
Yeah. That was my first one, by the way. That was the first turbo I've ever exploded. I've melted wheels out of them, but I've never exploded one. That was the first for me.
We didn't see the boost, but from, God, it had to be 80, 90 pounds. I mean, that's a lot from a single stage. Yeah. It had to be way up. So what happened was, I mean, failure analysis is we believe it was a severe overspeed because the compressor wheel literally exploded. Yeah. That's what happened. When he threw the compressor cover, I mean, just everywhere. But we had on the super duper filter, which caught the guts. I mean, most of the stuff was in the filter.
I think the PDD filter kept the workman's comp claim to like a 0, because the only thing that came out was the front bearing collar shot out. But even that, I mean, it like spun a little bit on the floor.
Yeah.
And
you can see it hits the ground, sparks, and it's like runs into stuff.
But other than that, I mean, we tore that turbo off. Like, obviously, we had to beat most of it apart.
Yeah.
And we had this Garrett that I originally got for the engine build, and I looked at Meyer, and I was like, dude, you want to put the Garrett on? And Meyer being Meyer, of course, he said yes.
Yes, sir.
So,
well, quickly, though, before it blew up, what was the power number that we actually hit?
1683, and it was like 2,480 something foot-pounds, I think. So big. That was the most power I've made with a common rail ever on this dyno.
Or anywhere, right?
Yeah. Yeah, for that truck, yeah.
Yeah, and this is not like a giving dyno. This is pretty stingy. So anyway, so 1693. So you're within, or 83, basically 300 horsepower of the goal, and yeah. So then the teardown begins, right? The Garrett. So the Garrett is a GT50.
18R, and it's 85 millimeter. And it was in an open 98 T6 housing.
So 18, so it's 118 exducer and an 85 inducer on the compressor. And then you have, it's got a bigger turbine wheel than the S400. Not a lot, but it's a little bit bigger.
A little bit bigger, yeah.
Ball bearing. And we're like...
I thought the turbo was done because we had upon engine assembly, I left a paper towel in the exhaust manifold and it got like caught in there real bad. And I didn't really think it was worth much. And at that time, like, everybody was here. Like,
yeah, big
every single person that works here was here. And I was like, hey, if everybody wants to help, by all means, let's do it. So it was like, we had the shipping and receiving team cleaning out the intercooler.
Yeah.
Jameson helping.
That's a big deal. Because anytime you blow up a turbo anywhere, a lot of oil and guts is in the intercooler. I've known people who've blown up a turbo, they took the turbo off and put the new one on, only to have that engine run away because there was so much oil in the intercooler, it sucked it right to the engine. So if you ever blow up a turbo, clean out your intercooler. It might save your engine.
Yeah.
So there's a bunch of stuff came out of that too, wasn't it?
Yeah, so they cleaned out the intercooler. I don't know how much came out, but I can tell you they had it for almost like a half hour cleaning it with like Dawn soap. It gets the oil out.
Yeah.
And then I didn't have any Garrett housings that would fit the Marmon 462 flange. So Meyer and I think Shad pulled the downpipe out and we got the hood stack put on, swapped the hood stack hood on and put the Garrett on. We lost 2 intercooler boots and we lost the elbow. That one took some serious shrapnel through it.
Yes, it did. But the real sad damage was what? The one you're just so sad about.
I have a little pimple dent in my hood.
It was a beautiful hood. Yeah. And now there's a little dent there.
Yeah. I was sad. I mean, luckily it was a Borg Warner turbo, so I wasn't out a ton of money. And then I heard the Garrett, and I was like, to me that turbo was pretty much useless because I was like, I think it's hurt. I didn't really want to use it anymore, so we put it on, strapped it down.
See, and we were curious. I've never ran that turbo, that combination anywhere, so I was curious. I've blown up a GT50 that did out in Godfather a couple years back, and so I was nervous about a GT50, but we have it here. I've already blown up one. Let's see what happens. So get it back on. We had to turn the truck around because now the dyno hood stack need outside the door, and so we had to turn the truck around. Hood was off. It looked awesome.
Yeah, I mean, it was a really cool view. And then Todd stepped in, rightfully so. I mean, we needed some serious wastegate advice. So we pretty much ran the truck the rest of the night just on spring pressure.
Only, yeah.
And we jetted it we kept the 99 and 136 jets in it. And we just slowly started walking it in. The Garrett only did 1090 on fuel only. And then we just started bringing in the nitrous. And how many hits do you think we did? Like 6 or 7 on our way up?
Yeah, quite a few.
So it was like 1,200, 13, 14, 14 and a half. We did like 15, I think it was like 1530 when we finally decided to put the
sauce to it.
Put the big tune. what was it? It was a 99 jet at 100% and a 136 at 55, or was it 75?
I think it was 75 at this point.
So basically the same thing that killed the Borg Warner. And we started going. Everything looked good. The engine's still making a ton of power. And we turned it on. And I will admit, I made a mistake, as I'm sure Eric will put the footage in. I was supposed to let out at like 3,800, I think.
Yeah.
And it clearly went to like 4,200 when that thing let go. So that was my bad, to be fair. The
reality is a lot of people don't realize at altitude, turbos have less resistance, right? There's less, I mean, the air's thinner. So to get a certain boost number, you have to have a lot more rotor speed. So, you know, we're told by many people, even the producer of the turbo, is like, hey, guys have ran these to 60, 70 pounds of boost all day long. But to do that same amount of boost at 5,600 feet of altitude, it has to spin a lot faster. And so we were really concerned about the boost number. And so we were really watching just the boost number as we were upping the nitrous run by run by run to see if it was safe. And it kept hitting high 50s, would touch 60, and so we're thinking it's okay. The more nitrous we add, the drive pressure goes up, and so the valve and the wastegate just goes higher, and so really it's pretty good at self-regulating. It's just keeping there right about 60. It's not jumping.
No.
So like, dude, this is great.
Yeah.
Let's hit it, man. Let's put some. Let's do this thing. So now we're ready to go again on a big power number, and it was great.
It was glorious.
It was glorious.
4th of July came early tonight.
That'll destroy a turbo. All those fragments will come back loose. A decent amount of carbon on it. I guess maybe
turbo books. This kind of stuff here. Yes.
At like 4,200, all of a sudden there was just a loud noise and then this huge flame in the windshield. I like pulled my hands off the shifter and steering wheel. And you couldn't really see you in the video, but I'm sure you probably put your hand in front of your face. Because the scary part is on a hood stack, like that thing's coming like right at the passenger.
Yeah.
And that turbine wheel, I mean, it came out spinning like a top.
Watch out, stop.
It actually, that hood stack was cross bolted. It broke the bolts. It really broke the bolts. It broke the bolts.
That's insane. I mean, honestly, I don't think I will ever see that again in my life. I mean, the fact that it was spinning, it went up in the air. Will did some silly calculations.
It was like 200 feet,
He's
right?
like 200 feet in the air, we think, by the time we got up and by the time we heard it landing. And he's over there on his cell phone.
Watch out.
And he hears this ting, ting, ting. He's like, what the heck is that? And he walks over and he gets the footage of the turbine wheel spinning like a top from the blow up, still going there spinning. I'm like, I can't believe I cannot believe we got that footage. Honestly, I mean,
I was lucky.
Usually, like a turbine wheel's like launched in the roof out of dyno, or it's a shot out across somewhere, or hopefully the cross bolts don't break and it's there. And so, I mean, how high would it have gone if you didn't have to go through cross bolts? Who knows? It might have been way worse. But the fact that it landed on the ground and was still spinning, I just can't believe it. I've never even seen or heard anything like that. So anyway, this footage is probably once in a lifetime footage that you actually see. First, you find the turbine wheel while it's still spinning, and then capture it spinning like a top. It's incredible.
It better be, because I don't know how many more of those I can afford to do like that.
Yeah.
But
so the power on the brake, what was that? That was that
1623, and it was like 2450. It was pretty good. I mean, I'll be honest. I thought the Borg Warner carries the power better. Like the GT50 really hung over. But on the graph, what I found interesting is the GT50 comes in a lot harder. The Borg comes in earlier, but it's a little softer hit. That GT50 was very violent on the way up, which was interesting because you'd think like with the turbine and stuff like that. I thought it would have carried the power better, but
yeah, it is interesting. Is the 85 versus the 88? Because the turbine should have taken it more. What was the AR on the Borg?
115.
So you got a bigger housing. That would help. I mean, that does help keep the top end for sure. So anyway, it's very interesting. They're very similar, but in the end, the Borg did make more power before it let go.
Yeah. But I mean, we don't really know the true horsepower potential of the Borg because we didn't have it gated properly.
Yeah, the reality is
I need a GT55.
Yeah, GT55 is a lot stronger. And as long as you can keep the rotor speed in check, you should be able to make with more and more nitrous. We just need more gate. So at that point, the night's over. And for those of you who happen to watch the live feed, Josh made an appeal to somebody to sponsor a turbo that could see if we could hold up to the power. And so we're like, we've been working on a new turbo, a little Aggressor 88 turbo. This is not a little, it's an S400 based turbo, 88. There's the new S400 80 and 88 millimeter SXEs are crazy expensive. I mean, they're very expensive turbo.
Like $2,400 with the housing, I think.
Yeah, I mean, or 26 for the 88s. They're very expensive, and so that has given rise to the aftermarket. There are quite a few companies who make a version of an S480 or S488, and so we wanted to offer an option as well. So we've been working on putting together an S488, S480, and we had one that was assembled. We haven't even ran it yet. Literally, it's just together. We got the components figured out. It's assembled, ready to go. We're like, we weren't making this turbo to compete with the big genuine Borg or Garrett ball bearing. We just wanted to have something that was affordable. And so we're like, well, let's do some durability testing.
Yeah.
And so that's what we decided. So this is now the next night.
Yes.
We're back. People are begging to blow it up on this live stream Instagram.
I think they just wanted, I think a lot of people wanted to see like 1800 or something like that.
Yeah, that would have been cool.
But, you know, because we did it safely, I think we know that maybe at this altitude, you just can't quite do it.
Not with the gate. If you had more gate, I think you could.
I ordered another one.
Then I think we will get there.
Okay.
I think we will get there.
But
so anyway, this is the same thing as this next night. We had no pressure to the wastegate.
Nope. And
we just start with fuel only. Fuel only was a little bit lower than the other turbos. Now I want to be full disclosure. This turbine had a bigger turbine housing, a 132.
Yep.
So that will help it survive the high RPM stuff. It did make less power, made less boost. I'm really curious if you would have had similar boost with a similar housing, because it made less boost fuel only than the other ones.
Yeah, no, it definitely did. And on fuel only, it still cracked the gate, whereas the FI one could not, because the gate had 40 PSI going to the top.
Yeah, so we may have lost some drive there. Yeah. So we didn't get a true apples to apples comparison fuel only. But it was still, it did over 1,000 horsepower on the fuel only.
It was like just under 11. It was like a 1098 or something like that.
Yeah, so I was really happy with that. I was like, so power-wise, it's on par, and you know, quite a bit less expensive. So now we're gonna see, will it live?
Yeah.
So we do the same thing.
Yeah, and we did a 99, 136 jet again, until we realized that the bottle was empty. And we did we creeped in on it. It was like 13, then we did 14, and then we turned it up and it did 14 again, and we turned it up and then it went down to 13.
Yeah, we're like, something's wrong.
Yeah, bottle was empty, so we swapped over to a fresh bottle. Gotta always have a few bottles with you, always.
And then at that point, so at this point we had creeped up to 100% on the 99 jet, and we were up to like 50 on the 136.
Yep. And
so I said, with a full bottle, it's a big, big difference from an empty bottle. So we turned off the big jet. We ran just the 99 alone.
And it did like 15, 15 or 15, 16, like right there.
I think that was our 1595, wasn't it?
Yeah, maybe.
Because then we started playing, we couldn't get it, and then it went down.
Yeah.
Anyway, all of a sudden the power jumped dramatically, which happens with the full bottle. Is that when you did the fuel as well, though? Maybe we did the fuel and the bottle.
Yeah, and then we added more fuel too.
That's probably when we did the 1595, when you added the fuel. So we added the fuel, we're at 1595, and we're playing, and we add the 136 jet, and we keep going backwards.
Yes.
We're hitting multiple 1540, 1560. I mean, somewhere in there, but we can't crack 1600.
No.
And we keep saying, we got one more run, then we're going to go home.
Yeah. Well, I mean, you have kids, so you had to go home.
I had to get home, and so we do another run. It's like 1580. Like, okay, we're gonna do one more run because we really want to hit the 1600. That's what we want to see if we can do. And so then your solenoid's a 125.
Yes.
And we're running a 136 jet.
Yep.
And so for whatever reason, we're not sure. So you decide to drop the jet size on that one.
Right, and I was also wondering if maybe the dash 6 feed couldn't keep up too, because it was just those two solenoids share one feed line. So we changed it to, it was a basically 299s. I think it was a 94, but 299s, and you pretty much let me do the nitrous tune-up on that one, which was a lot of trust there. Yeah. So we did 100% on the first one, and then 50 on the second kit, and we did 1626, I think it was, or 1625. And it was like 2,470 something foot-pounds of torque.
That run was over 70 pounds of boost. I was wincing. I was like, oh man, this is up there. But it took it. You let out. You didn't run it to 4,200. You were quick on the let off, so we didn't over speed the rotor. And but yeah, so 70 pounds of boost at our altitude, and I'm like, oh man, please just don't let go, not again. But it took it. And we got 1625 or 1626.
Yeah.
And
we drove it off the dyno.
We drove it off the dyno.
And the turbo's still tight.
Feels good.
Which was good. The engine took 2 blowups, didn't explode or anything. Yeah. And I think, all in all, I think we did like 40 dyno pulls between all 3 turbos. Yeah. It was enough to drain a 15-pound bottle and put a hurting on the second one.
Yeah, I mean, the amount of runs you had over 1,400 horsepower in that short time frame is ridiculous. Yeah. So things that are cool about this, one, we were testing the Wagler Street Fighter rods. We've had a lot of luck with those, but we've never heard of anybody taking them to the power level this high.
No. So I was talking to Austin, one of the guys that works there. We right now have the most horsepower and torque through a set of those. So I think the 1,500 horsepower rating is a pretty solid number, but there might be room for more.
So we feel good about that. The Hamilton block is cool because this is his stock replacement. It's not a sleeved block. It's not a deck plated block. It's a stock block, but a higher tensile iron.
Right, the 300. So factory blocks are 270, and this one's 300.
And so he rates this for 1250?
Well, originally I thought it was 1500, but when I commented, apparently it was only rated for 1250. So again, I think that's a really safe number, but I think there's a little bit room for more. Yeah. And I'm really happy with both those products because those are two, like, nobody's really tried to do too much with them. Like, the Street Fighter seem to appeal to guys that have like 6.7s with compounds or 5.9s with compounds, but not crazy horsepower. And I really do think it's a good budget, both of those items, because that high test block isn't as expensive as the comp or the solid block. Right. And it's still a wet block. You can tow with it. And I mean,
it's a factory replacement.
We did 12 or 14 runs in 2 hours. Like,
oh yeah, we beat on it.
The wet block can just cool itself off really quickly. And I think the biggest thing I learned was, number one, how to use the progressive controller.
Yeah, that was really fun.
And how to do wastegates a little better. Or,
yeah. Creep up on it. Don't hit it. Work your way up rather than just hit it all at once, you know.
Yeah. So.
Yeah. So going forward, I think with your new, whatever you're gonna end up doing with your truck, it's gonna be freaking rad. But I think 2000 is gonna fall on this dyno pretty quickly.
I hope so.
Yeah.
I hope so.
So to be fair, the Borg worm blew up, but I think it was as strong as the turbo we put on there, and I think it would have lasted had we done proper wastegate tuning.
I think so too.
So I'm not saying that the Aggressor is stronger than the Borg, because I think that was more user error than component error.
Definitely.
Now, the Garrett did fail before either of the Borgs, but again, I think that's GT50. The way it's designed, I think it's the weakest of the big turbos. And I've actually been warned by Garrett distributors, like people who are out there like, don't use that on a really high performance. And I did, and I blew mine up, and you did, and you blew yours up. So if you're out there at the GT50, don't lean on it too hard. 55, have fun.
So. And the other thing too is the 6.7, like, I think a lot of it too, like 5.9 guys usually can make a little bit more power. I don't think they have quite the, that engine's not consuming as much.
Yeah, the rotor speed's slower.
Yeah, whereas like the record holder right now on an S400 is like 2,100 horse, but it was on a 5.9. And I really do think some of that is the 6.7, and then you brought up a good point too, the ported head. Yeah. Like, how much more efficient of a head is that, and that also changes some of the drive and boost pressure relationships too.
Yeah, the reality is if you can get your wastegate tuning proper, there's no reason you couldn't go 2,000 well beyond on that turbo, because you're making it now with nitrous. As long as you can keep your turbine speed in check, that's really the big deal. I mean, yeah, your pressure ratios, you want to keep those not excessive, because that really stresses stuff and it's inefficient. But if we could just keep the rotor speed in check, there's no reason you can go well beyond 2,000 horsepower. Just right now, with that one gate's not enough. With 2 gates, I think you'll be just fine.
Yeah, we picked up a second one. So
anyway, we blew up 2 turbos first night, did not blow up the third night. We learned a lot. Hopefully watching this video, you guys, if you're gonna start to play with nitrous, you know, it's called a drug for a reason. Because it will, if you don't, it will bite you if you don't, it will cost you a lot of money.
Yep.
It's very addictive. And if you don't play it right, it's gonna hurt you. So hopefully, yeah, be careful and just work your way up. Don't hit it so hard right off the top. But yeah, you got any thoughts? I mean,
other than I honestly was really impressed with the Aggressor Turbo, and I think when they're available for sale, I think it'll be a great option for either a big single guy on a budget or compounds on a budget. I think it'll be, I'm a lot more secure in it now because it took a beating.
Yeah, we just beat it over and over and over, and it still feels good. So the Borg, I think, would take it equally as well. Just a lot more money to get into one of those.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the fireworks. We enjoy it now looking back. During the, I enjoy it more than Josh, but I've been in his shoes. I understand.
I honestly, the biggest problem with me was the dent in my hood. That once I saw that, I was like,
oh,
but
man.
You can't get into. I mean, that's what happens when you're trying to make power.
Yes, I tell people all the times, if broken parts is going to ruin your life, don't do this.
Yeah, don't do any of this.
If it's going to cause you stress and stuff, this is not the game for you. Get a 500-600 horsepower, stay there. You can, if you want to spend some money, you can get some more power and be reliable. You start pushing 1,500, 1,600, 2,000. Anybody who has been there legitimately has gone through a lot of parts. There's a lot of people who think, oh, I want a 2,000 horsepower street truck that can tow and be great from day one. Yeah, I mean, we can build it for you, but you're gonna,
it's gonna be expensive.
What do they say? You can have fast, reliable, and cheap. Pick 2.
Yeah.
You don't get 3.
Yeah.
So anyway, that's the truth. So anyway, this has been a lot of money for Josh on this thing. You spent a few dollars on this truck now.
Yeah. About to spend a lot more too.
Yeah. But anyway, this is going to be a sweet truck. This truck is in the voting for Diesel Power Challenge, which is now held in July, right?
Yeah, they moved it. And I think the voting now ends in May.
In May. So, guys, you got to go. If you have not, you can vote electronically.
Yep, that's the only way to do it actually now.
So okay, so vote electronically. So if you can or you have not, this will be a sweet truck to go to the Diesel Power Challenge. So I'm excited. I think it's going to get in. If you haven't voted for it, make sure you do. It's going to be awesome. We've got some big plans. I'm not going to spill here. But just watch this thing. It's going to be freaking rad. So.
All I can say is there's a new engine being built right now, even stronger than the one we have.
Yeah, the one you have is no slouch.
No, I'm impressed.
Yeah.
So.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Thanks for watching us break stuff. I mean, we do quite a bit on this channel. I hope you enjoyed it. And like this video, let it get out there, subscribe, all that good stuff you're supposed to do with the YouTube videos.
Yeah, leave some comments. If you catch maybe the part of the turbine wheel flying out, let us know what second it's at. We'd like to get more accurate calculations.
That's right.
That.
That's right.
So
awesome.
Thank you guys.
Thanks
Appreciate
a lot, man.
it.
We'll see you later.